Hey everyone, welcome to Metal Guns and Outdoors. This is part 2 on our 20 gauge double barrel project. Everything set overnight, the blue and cured. Was worried about the barrel, but no, turned out fine. Well, good deal. Now we get to start putting everything back together. This is going to be the job, that's for sure. Alright, let's start with our floor plate and our trigger assembly. Now, first thing we need to do is put this assembly here right back. Fairly simple. Just a drop of oil on that. Okay, this just goes in the hole here. Get oil in there real good. Turn that upside down. This little bar here, just go down in there. Line up our hole for our pin. Alright, got that in there. Next thing we're going to do is put our triggers in. The short trigger will be closest to me. Long trigger furthest away. Grab that pin and get it started in there. Alright, well that went in really easy, didn't it? All that is just working like it's supposed to. The dot oil there at the pivot points. Working back and forth some, get that oil in there. Now we have our little spring assembly. And all that does, it goes under the triggers, one side at a time. Seems to be a little sprung out there. That might do the trick. So we'll keep fiddling with it until we get it just the way we want it. There we go. And put our little screw back in. that one tried to come out on us. That's why it's always good to check what you're doing. And check it well. I think I see why that's trying to come out. Tightened our screw, we moved everything around that away. Now let's see how that one's going to act. Oh yeah, just perfect. So when you tighten that screw, you move this out too much and that gets that lip out from under there. But we got her now. Bam. Trigger assembly is done. Alright, let's move on. Grab everything we need for this. Now, first thing we want to do, we've got everything good and cleaned up without no issues. But this plunger that we had to get so aggressive with, it's still got a little rust on it. So we're just going to take it and polish it out with a piece of Scotch-Brite. And we're going to do it the easy, quick way. Alright, that made pretty quick work of that. Let's get our little notch in here just to be a little bit better safe than sorry. That's got our little plunger going very well. Now we got our spring, well, that's what that we actually saved. So there was nothing wrong with it except for the fact it was just dead stuck in there. Get a little oil on her. See how that works now? Yeah, it's fantastic. Now we have to get that pressed down in there and put our pin back in. This little clamp here will hold it back for us. Oh yeah, just like magic. It's there, but again, it's just not set all the way down in there well. There we go. I had to get a little wicked with it, but hey, it worked. Alright, that still moves freely. Now we've got to remember how our How all of this went together. We have the spring latches in there. Put the spring in first, I do believe. Okay, yeah, that's got it where it's supposed to be. Just one of them things didn't look right until I got it in there. As you see, the little spring's on top there, and it holds it. And of course, this little spring here, well, there's a lot of tension on that thing. But let's go ahead and put everything on our barrel. Yeah, I'm saving the receiver to last because I know it's going to be the one that really gives me a lot of trouble. Like I said, this is clean. But I do want to buff it up a little bit with the Scotch-Brite. Just because I want that. One of them things. It just fits up on there, no problems. And we need our pin. I believe this is the correct pin. Yes, sir, that'll do her. Yeah, it fits in there great. Get a little oil needs to be about there to get that pin in there correctly. Yep, that's got her. Ah, works like a new money. And this plunger here. And get our little set screw back down in there. There we go. Fantastic. Alright. Now, as you know, this assembly is supposed to snap on and off of here really easy without no problems. I hope it does that. We really won't know a whole lot until we get the front forearm back on here, which you know we're going to have to do some work to that forearm. But hopefully this thing will work right and we won't have no issues with it. So we'll do a little test fit there. I gotta tell you what, I just do not like that type of setup. Nope, that right there is just unacceptable, guys. This plunger is not coming all the way out and reacting like it's supposed to. So, let's move our barrel over here out of the way. Let's take this pin back out and we need to revisit and see what's going on with this thing because we can't be having this kind of business. I just barely hit that end, as y'all can see. I reckon all the abuse on it and stuff, that took the worst of it. That has come up a shade short as far as what it needs to be doing. But there's a fix to that. Instead of just trying to get a hold of one of these, this obscure firearm, all we need this thing to do is come out further. The only thing that donates it coming out is this slot right here. So we need to make this slot go back a little more. Plenty of spring pressure in there for that to operate correctly. because hopefully y'all can see this okay. When this comes out, it is supposed to catch right in here, just like that. And right now, it's only about there. We just need to get it a little further out. All right, I'm back at it. Took a little cutoff wheel on my Dremel. Just went down in there and cut and cleaned it up. Like this here, we just need to do a little bit of modifying and a little bit of smoothing out. I really want that thing just to snap down on there. Of course, hold in place correctly. And be just a perfect fit. So, let's go ahead and take the time. What I'm going to do is take my little Dremel, clean this stop right here up. You can see some bad spots on it. And get it smoothed out. Like I say, that sits just like that down in there. That should snap on there with just a little bit of pressure and snap back off with just a little bit of pressure. But we'll shut the camera off, save a little bit of time for y'all. I'm going to get this all cleaned up and get this where it works correct. Got it figured out. First thing I've done, you see I dressed up that end right there. I got that nice and smooth with a good radius on it. I know that was part of the issue. And the second thing I've done, this is the original spring. Yeah, it's done with. I found me a new spring and put in here. Still holds great tension, but it's not as tight. But you know, it don't take a whole lot. It's supposed to, for it to snap on and snap off. So now, yeah, it's in there good, no wiggles. It's holding like it's supposed to. I snap it off with my finger, so that's not going to be too much stress on the forearm, because that's what caused them screws to rip out in the first place. Alright, well I was happy to get that done. Took a little bit more time, but we got more time than money, that's a fact. And it's got to be right, guys. Now, on to our receiver of 1,000,000 parts. And we've got to remember what the first thing we did, what the last thing we did. This thing went together about like a jigsaw puzzle, that's for sure. I know one thing, as I put stuff in here, I want a good little coat of oil on it. And this is the kind of stuff, nobody sees it. So, definitely want to make sure that everything's oiled real good. And we'll get it together without any issues. Alright, next I'm putting in my firing pins. And I did maybe it's firing pin springs for it, because there were not none in there. I've already installed one. I'll go ahead and put this other side in there. Just got to catch that right spot on them, guys. Put our small screws back in. That retains our firing pin. And there we go. Got both firing pins in there, both springs. Alright, got our fire springs both in, and they both work like they're supposed to. Next, this weird little plunger assembly. this goes up through the top. Tell you what, ain't much working room for hands in here, that's for sure. Get a little drop of oil on there. Alright. Now our spring goes down in there. I'm not going to try to screw this on as I compress that spring down. Yep, it was a lot easier to take off, I'll give it that. Hallelujah, I got it. There she is. At least it went together. That is a tight fitting little setup right there, guys. Alright, we got that. I think the next thing will be our little plunger. Remember, it went in from the top, but we had this spring. And I'm assuming when this plunger goes in from the top, which is going to go like this here, that this little spring caught the side right there. That's how come it had so much tension on it. That is what I got to figure out how it goes down in there. Let me see here. That is a lot of tension. I said sit there and look at it for a few minutes because I just figured it'd be a lot harder for it to go down in there and catch that spring. Basically the way that notch is cut out on there, it just fits down in there. And that notch catches that spring and preloads itself. Huh. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Now next, these two springs. Alright guys, we have all that assembly there in place. I done that off camera, and the reason I did is because it took so long to do. What you have to do is get these down in there and compress that spring as you put the pin in. And the pin goes all the way through and holds both. Well, I made me up a little jig and where I could use a C-clamp and get that compressed, and I finally got it. Now, good deal on that. Throw a little fresh oil down there. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do, I know this may seem backwards, but we have to put this spring in before we put the arms and the roll pin in. And the reason being, you see a screw right there? It's cut for that roll pin to go through and capture it. I know, that's really, really odd, but I mean, it is what it is, right? Alright, let's see. Yep, we got her in there correctly. Now we'll grab our arms. It makes it a lot harder to get these in there, that's for sure. Alright, there's our arm assembly. That's in there correctly. Alright, we're happy with that. Alright guys, well thankfully, we're starting to run out of parts. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and get this top assembly back in. Make sure my spring was pushed down in there correctly. Looks like that's going to be just a shade sticky to begin with. May just be one of them things. Because, I mean, you got to remember too, guys, these guns are old. They've taken a lot of abuse here, there, and everywhere. The Lord knows what they've been through. So you may not end up 100% perfect on them, but you really just got to roll with it and do what you can do, really. Alright guys, I went back through the lever just to be 100% sure. And yeah, we got it in there good. It's just going to have a little play in it, but a lot of these old guns do. And that unfortunately is what it is. Alright, now we have our, where did it go? For safety. Long part goes to the rear. If it fits correctly. Yep, I'm going to put some oil on it. Alright, remember when we took her apart, had this spring set up, this little set up, spring set up, sits right down in there. All right, let's go ahead and slide this in here. We won't put that screw in yet because we have that other spring that goes in there. Let's see if we can get our pin back in there. As you can tell by this slide here and this hole, this has got to go here. This weird screw here with the shank on it. Alright guys, got all the safety on there like it's supposed to be. Looks like it works okay. Bar went in there correctly. Our lever's working. So it's got a little stickiness to it, but it's working. Alright, now next thing we need to do is work on our wood, because we have got everything done, everything's put together, everything's fitting like we want it to. So yeah, let me go over here and scrub on this wood and see what I can get done with that. And that, guys, here's all I'm doing to the wood. Just taking some of my orange, getting a good soak on it. As you can see, it's been soaking pretty good. Been spraying it about every time I go by. Grab me a new brush. And you basically just go to scrubbing. Alright guys, we've got our wood pretty clean. Turned out really nice. Cleaned up real well. I put some wood filler down in them bad screw holes. So that should tighten them up and work out really well. And what we're going to do from here, the reason I've come over here to this other table, I don't want any trash over there around my gun parts. It's going to take me a piece of 150 grit and just lightly hit it. Just a little bit to get rid of some of the roughness. Not going to overdo it, because they did clean up pretty well. But we'll go ahead and run our 150 over these, and then take the air blower and blow them all off, take a little tack rag and wipe them down. Then we'll decide on what kind of finish we're going to do. If I can hold on to the sandpaper. I've got her all sanded down. Y'all got to think this wood was in a flood. Well, this gun and the previous gun that I done for Tim were in a flood. So they caught a lot of abuse. So I think, considering that they were flood guns, that they're turning out excellent, and the wood did not get messed up. One small crack right there I am not going to worry about, versus putting filler in it and you're just really seeing that filler. You know how that stuff is. This here, of course, appears to be some pretty nice walnut. So I'm going to do it just like we've done our other. That way both stocks will match. Using the Birchwood Casey True Oil gun stock finish. And just a paper towel to apply it. We will see what we can get done with this thing. You know, it's going to take several coats too, because this stuff really got to soak it up. As far as the first coat coverage, I want to do this piece real quick so y'all can see. It's about the finish that we're going to get. It looks really nice. All right, well, I'm going to keep on and get the gun stock finish put on these, probably 2 or 3 coats, and then maybe we'll get the final assembly. Guys, our wood turned out pretty good. Not too bad. We do have a couple of spots on our stock here. Remain a little on the dry side. But what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and assemble the shotgun because it's that time. And I'm just going to keep rubbing this with some basic oil and try to get it to soak it up. I reckon that the flood water has done more damage to the wood than I thought. But that's okay. We're going to make it happen. Alright, first thing I would like to do is go ahead and get our little forearm put together. Forearm, whichever you want to call it. Long screw goes in the back. Short screw in the front. I've already run the screws through to make another hole where we put our wood putty at. Hopefully these tighten down and do correctly. Yeah, feels pretty good. I do want to try it out before I go any further. That's lovely. Alright, set that over here out of the way. Let's grab our receiver and our barrel. I'm in our stop. Okay, let's go ahead and slide our stock on here. Tell you what, that wood really has done some shrinkage and some warping here and there, that's for sure. Go. Pull them triggers up. Okay, I want to grab this screw, and I did go through off camera, cleaned up all of these, and got them blued. Alright, go ahead and install our buttstock here. Get that one going. Almost got my gloving out. Now sitting in there right, so wiggle jiggle, make that go in there like it's supposed to, just like so. If it doesn't go right the first time, don't force it. Just a little patience, wiggle jiggle it in there, and it will fit just fine. Alright, plenty tight enough. Let's go ahead. Oh, there we go. Remember, this just screwed in here. Watch you don't scratch it on that trigger. Yeah, keep on going. You'll find that magic point where it tightens up. There we go. Get all that together very well. Have a top screw. Almost messed up, didn't I? There we go, boy. It looks good together, don't it? All right, guys. Grab our 4-arm. And let's put our butt plate on. Oh, them are flat heads too. Usually the butt plate screws are Phillips head. That's why I was looking at it. Guys, there we go. The gun went back together good and tight. Looks like it's going to be finicky, that's for sure. Well, she functions. Safety's working. And there it is. Tell you what I'd like to do is take my rag and wipe this down and get it out here in the sun where y'all could get a really nice look at it, because the way that this bluing turned out on here, I just think a good sunlight picture would do it some justice. Alright guys, here we go. The bluing on that receiver turned out pretty trick. And it's not case hardened, but it does have a similar look to it. I need to rub her down with oil again, that's for sure. Oh no, little project turned out pretty good. I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with it. Well guys, there you have it. Sorry both videos were so long, but it is what it is. You wouldn't believe the actual real time that I have in restoring this one. There was a lot going on here. A lot of things are being just quite a pain on this one. So there was a lot of time. But in my opinion, it was worth it. Old gun turned out fantastic, especially considering what it was before and what it went through. And guys, this one here, this old gun, it is not for shooting. This is going to be a mantelpiece. And of course, Tim, the gentleman who sent it, he knows this. This gun has had, the flood really did some permanent damage to it apparently. How and why, I'm not sure. I'm not a expert on floods. But I'm decent enough knowing about guns that I would not suggest taking this thing out and shooting it. This is something nice. Keep it oiled. Take good care of it. You know, it sits on the mantle. You can tell stories. This is a piece of history for him and his family. And that's the important thing. That's why I wanted to get it to look so nice. Yes, I am rubbing gun oil on the wood. That's the way I'm gonna try to get rid of some of them bad spots that it had as far as the dry spots. I've done this a lot of times before, and I'll probably be doing this for the next 3 or 4 days. This is gonna sit out here on the gun bench if the wind don't blow it away, and it will just get a lot of rubbing down on the wood and the metal as well. Like I say, I don't know what was in that flood water, but I still wasn't super thrilled. I mean, the barrel looks great, but the bluing was just, how would I put it? Lightly taken. It just seemed like one of them, you didn't keep it rubbed down with oil really well, that the rust would really come back on it. So unfortunately it is what it is, but all in all, the gun turned out cool. Well, everyone, thanks very much for watching the videos. I know both of them were very lengthy, but I mean, that's what it took. So, you know, if you would, please leave me some comments, any questions, suggestions, always appreciated. Hit us up on our Patreon page if you're able, and please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank y'all very much, and I hope you have a fantastic day.